Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the business training this morning. It is 11 o'clock. My name is Stephanie Barnsby. I am absolutely delighted to be joining you this morning and taking you through my training on how to increase your recruitment online in 2020. So hopefully people are starting to log on now. I just want to tell you a little bit of background about myself before we get started. So my name is Stephanie Barnsby. I've been in the business now for just over 7 years. It's absolutely flown in that time. I can't believe how quickly it's gone. Actually, it feels like yesterday that I joined. And the reason that I came to look at Forever in the first instance is that I'd had a long background in recruitment. I'd worked in the corporate world in a recruitment role of various kinds for about 15 years. And I was actually 9 months pregnant with my little boy when I came across the opportunity with Forever. And I was looking for something, if I was honest. I was looking for an opportunity to escape the rat race. I didn't really want to go back to my job after maternity leave, and I was really keen to find something that was going to enable me to stay at home with my little boy and to be able to be that stay-at-home mum but still earn a great income, because I was used to earning good money. So I'd looked around and there wasn't much else out there like that. And I'd looked at things like secret shopping, anything that you could do online back in the day, various different things. And there was nothing out there that was ticking the boxes that would give me the income that I needed, but also that would give me that time at home with my little boy. And then I came across a Facebook post from my sponsor. And I wondered what she was doing. I was curious. She was also a mum who had another baby on the way. She was working the business around her hairdressing business, and I was curious to find out what she was doing. So I actually contacted her and asked her, what's this thing you're doing, and actually, can you make any real money doing it? And she sent me along to a business presentation. I waddled along, in fact, 9 months pregnant. And I was literally blown away by what I saw that evening, because what I saw was exactly what I was looking for, was the opportunity to work flexibly, to be that stay-at-home mum, but to still build an incredible income. And so I was pretty much sold that night, and I joined the next day. So I got started back in March of 2013. I did have a couple of months off to have my little boy, of course. And then I got stuck in, and within a couple of months I reached the supervisor position, and within another 4 or 5 months I was on my way to assistant manager. 7 months later I was a manager in the business and earning a fantastic income. Less than a year after getting started properly, I had replaced my old full-time corporate recruitment income, and I was able to hand in my notice, and my dream had come true. I'd escaped the rat race, and ever since then I've worked my Forever business full-time, but still very part-time and flexibly around my little boy, earning a full-time income but working part-time hours from home. I'm a senior manager in the business. The business has enabled me to go on through hard work and consistency, go on and achieve lots of things on the marketing plan. So I have over the years qualified for the car plan. I've qualified for 2 chairman's bonus checks. I have qualified for Global Rally, Eagle Manager, Senior Eagle Manager twice, and travelled the world with the business. It's been absolutely incredible. I now run the London area for Forever, alongside a group of fantastic London leaders and London colleagues, which I'm really grateful for, and I've had loads of fun along the way. But none of that would have been possible without being someone who consistently recruited into my business. And I've never been the world's #1, huge recruiter within Forever, but I have always recruited in my business consistently. So obviously we are in uncertain times at the moment. We're in a situation where we didn't expect to find ourselves in. Fortunately, we have a fantastic business model that works really well online. And although we have to tweak and change slightly how we're doing our business, the fundamental principles of how we build our business are exactly the same as they've always been. And yes, we need to tweak a couple of the different methods that we use, but actually we need to just keep on doing what we're doing and recruiting and retailing consistently. So I'm really happy to share with you this morning some of my top tips that I have learned from many of my mentors along the way to help with recruiting. So just bear with me a second. So you can see here, this is my belief that there are 3 key success factors to helping to recruit within our business. And these, as I say, these are things that I have learned along the way from books that I have read, from my mentors within Forever, and also other people, network marketing trainers outside of Forever. And I really believe that these 3 things are the key to our success in terms of recruitment within the business. So we need to contact and show enough people the business on a daily basis. It's no good just contacting some people. We need to show enough people on a daily basis the business opportunity. We also need to be consistent with that contacting on an ongoing basis. So we can all be consistent and show enough people the opportunity for a short spurt of time. But if we stop, start, it feels like we're doing an awful lot of work, but actually not getting results because we're not really doing it, showing enough people consistently enough over a long enough period of time. And I also believe that we need to master our communication skills and continue to develop those, because it's not always what we say. A lot of the time it is how we say it and how we nurture and take people around the business cycle. And we are so lucky in Forever Living, especially here in the UK, that there are some absolute masters who are here to coach us, train us in the art of communication. It doesn't matter which leg of the business you are in. We have some incredible trainers in this area: Jane Leach, Adam May, Diana Page, Andy Waring. All of these people are absolute masters of communication, and there are many, many more of those that we can plug into, and they are the people that I have learned all of this from. So how do we offer the opportunity? This slide should be really, really familiar for all of you. It is our recruitment cycle. It is in our business presentations. It's in our First Steps to Manager book. And this is something that if you don't feel you're familiar with it, it's definitely something that you should get yourself familiar with as soon as possible. It's actually a very simple cycle. It's really, easy to take people around this. And it's been around for a long time in Forever, and it's a simple system that if we follow this, and as I said on the previous slides, we show it to enough, or we take enough people around this cycle, we do that consistently enough on an ongoing basis using the right levels of communication, you literally can't fail to be successful in building your team. So the Who Do You Know list is obviously where we all start, and you will be working with your sponsors, with your mentors, to develop a fantastic Who Do You Know list. And this today is not a training on how to do that. We do have a fantastic training coming up on that actually on Wednesday in our London FBO group for any of you that are in there. So please feel free to check into that if you're not sure about building your Who Do You Know list. But the bits that we're going to concentrate on today are the contact and show and the business presentation. And these are the parts where you actually take people round this cycle. So you can see here the contact phase is when you initially get in touch with someone to offer them the opportunity to take a look at some information. And you can do that, as it says here, via a phone call, a text message. Face-to-face obviously isn't the opportunity that we have at the moment, but we've got so many other mediums that we can contact people on: WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. The phone never goes out of fashion. So all of these mediums, you can get in touch with people initially and just offer them the chance to have a look at some information about the business. Some will say yes at this stage, some will say no, but those that are open to taking a look at some information, we move them on to the next bit, which is the show stage. And this is the part where we take them through a one-to-one. Now, when normality was around, we would potentially go and meet them for a coffee at this stage. But again, we've been really, really fortunate that the business has transitioned so well into the online space. And in actual fact, the way that people are now, people that aren't in forever now, are embracing these online platforms that we've all used for a long time, like Zoom and Skype and GoToWebinar and all of these online platforms that people are using, WhatsApp video, FaceTime. People are getting more confident with this now. People are using these platforms as a way to communicate with their families and their friends. So they are much more open to jumping on a one-to-one via one of those platforms than they were in the past. So this makes life a little bit easier for us. So we can arrange to do a one-to-one through Zoom. There are also company links that you can send to people, but I would encourage you in this time to connect and communicate with people and do an online one-to-one as well. And if once they've seen that one-to-one, they would like to know more, then the next stage is that we plug them in to a business presentation. Now, again, traditionally, we take people along to a business presentation at a hotel or at the product centres. But at the moment, we have an incredible range of online opportunity meetings that we can share with our prospects and with our customers. The company have worked really, really hard to give us these things at our fingertips. And as most of you will know, we have 2 webinars on a Monday, one in the morning, one in the evening. There's another one on a Wednesday evening. And we've also had online experience evenings as well, which have been absolutely brilliant. So we have so many opportunities to plug people into at the business presentation stage, and then it's just a case of following them up and nurturing them through the rest of the process like we always would. So let's go back to that first point that I made on the very first slide, which is contacting enough people. Because as I say, it's all very well contacting, you know, people every now and again, but if we're not contacting people consistently every single day, then it's going to feel like we've been doing this for a long time, but we're not actually getting anywhere. So you need to feed your recruitment funnel, or your pipeline as we call it, and there are lots of different methods that you can use to feed people in to that pipeline, and we'll talk about some of those in a minute. But in terms of the numbers, if you're part-time, we recommend somewhere between 3 to 5 contacts a day that you're getting in touch with about the business opportunity, and if you're full-time, around 5 to 10 contacts a day. But it's entirely up to you. You can do more than that if you want. Probably wouldn't recommend that you do less, and all of this can be done very much in the nooks and crannies of your time. We've got a lot of things going on at the moment, even though we're not going out the house. I know there's lots of us that are homeschooling and entertaining children whilst trying to work, going out for the daily exercise whilst trying to work. But these kind of level of contacts can absolutely be done in small pockets of time around everything else that you're doing, your job, your kids, everything. And that's what it's designed for. If you are contacting that amount of people each day, then you should have around about 10 or 12 people that say yes to looking at some information about the business opportunity. So that is looking at some information, is either having a one-to-one with you, maybe a very detailed phone call where you take them through a bit of a phone one-to-one, or video one-to-one is always the best because they can see your facial expressions, you can build rapport, or potentially if you can't arrange any of those, there are the company video links that you can use to take them through that information as well. And of those 10 to 12, you would like to try and arrange 3 to 5 of those as a minimum to be one-to-ones really. At the moment, as I say, that number could be even higher because we don't have to physically go and meet somebody for a coffee, drive there, drive back, spend an hour or two there. We can literally just jump on a Zoom call for 20 minutes, half an hour, and do a one-to-one that way. So that number could be even higher at the moment. But as you're starting out, you should be aiming to arrange a few of those to be face-to-face one-to-ones at least. And if you've got 10 to 12 a week looking at your business opportunity, then as a result of that, you should have maybe 1 or 2 attending a business presentation, an online business presentation as a minimum each week. Now, again, at the moment, I think we're in a really fortunate position because I believe people are so much more open at the moment. All of the conversations I've been having with my colleagues in Forever, my upline, my sideline, my team, everyone has been saying how much more open people are to taking a look at some information. People have got more time at the moment. People are at home, and when the kids are in bed in the evening, they're not rushing out doing other things. They are at home because obviously no one can get babysitters at the moment, and people are open to looking at an opportunity. So I think these numbers actually at the moment would be higher than this. And if you have a couple of guests a week at a business presentation, then you could expect to recruit somewhere between 1 and 4 new assistant supervisors each month. And I think the more we remain online for the time being, these numbers will increase. And unfortunately, with the situation the way it is just now, there are also lots of people that are being furloughed, that are being made redundant, that are looking for an extra income, something that they can do whilst we are in isolation. And although some of those measures may be lifted soon, life isn't going to go back to being the same as it was for a long time. So we need to use this opportunity to help people and to share this opportunity with as many people as possible, and be brave, because people are definitely much more open to looking at the moment. So the more people we contact about it, the more people we show, the more people we then plug into a business presentation or an experience evening, then the more people we will recruit. And I have seen such brilliant figures in terms of recruitment across my team and other teams in the business, personally as well. Last month, I know some of my colleagues recruited a serious number of people as well in the business in April. So it is there. We just need to contact enough people. We just need to share with enough people. We just need to plug enough people into the business presentation. There's a quote here from Bill Gates, which I love. When he was starting out in business with his idea, he said, "There is no secret. I simply showed my plan to 1,200 people. 900 said no. I signed up 300 people. Only 85 did anything. Only 30 took it seriously, but 11 made him a multi-millionaire." So I would say if you had 11 really good people in your business that took it very seriously, and became leaders, you know, you're looking to be a sapphire manager there. So, you know, that's not too dissimilar from what we look at in our business. But even just in terms of showing people the business, it's just the theory around this, that the more people you show, yes, you'll get lots of no's, but unless you're showing and contacting enough people, then you are not going to get down to those ones that are going to make your business really successful. So we need to be brave, we need to be out there, we need to be contacting, and we need to be sharing our business with as many people as possible. So how are we going to get people into that funnel, into that pipeline in the first place? We've got loads of different recruitment methods that we can use, and it's always advisable to use as many of those methods as you can. You know, don't just stick with one, maybe pick 2 or 3 that you feel that you can do successfully and do them consistently. So obviously we have our who do you know list, and that's where it all starts. And again, as I say, you know, I'm sure lots of you will be working closely with your sponsors and your upline to develop a brilliant who do you know list. But there are company trainings on this. If you look on some of our company channels, I'm sure you will find them, or someone can point you in the right direction. But your sponsor or your upline will be happy to help you develop a fantastic who do you know list. At the moment, the online methods are proving really, really successful. So Facebook and Instagram, obviously they're a great source of people we're connected to. And everyone's online just now, so you're going to get a much quicker response through your social media than you would do when perhaps people were at work in the office in their full-time job and they're not allowed to go on their phones or their social media during working hours. At the moment, people are at home, so you're going to be able to communicate nice and quickly and promptly with people through social media. You can reach out to them with a message, an inbox message. We have a fantastic opportunity on Facebook with the birthdays feature. Every single day, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 maybe people's birthdays pop up on your birthday feature on Facebook. It's a perfect opportunity, in line with the amount of people we try to contact each day. in this business to reach out to people and just connect. So wish someone a happy birthday. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're managing to do something a bit fun in this situation, and I hope you and your family are keeping well. How are things with you? It opens up a lovely conversation. You've wished someone a happy birthday, and they always come back and say thank you, and you can then get into a conversation. You can then ask them, you know, how they're coping with things in lockdown. Are they managing to work from home? How's it going with the homeschooling? And you will start to find that people will share with you their fears, or you know, the reasons why they're nervous about the future going forward. Some won't. Obviously some are really happy with the situation, but some will. And it gives you a great opportunity to really then go on to say, hey, do you know what? I may have something that could be of interest to you. Would you be open to jumping on a Zoom call, for example? So using the social media platforms is great, and we can inbox people, but also using the birthdays feature is a great way to get through your whole Facebook list in a 12-month period, because everyone has a birthday within the year, don't they? And as I say, it's usually 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 people's birthdays every single day. So that fits in exactly with us contacting enough people each day in the business. Talking to people never goes out of fashion. It doesn't have to be face to face. And this is, of course, one of the very best ways to build our business. So again, when you're reaching out to people, yes, you can send a message that you tweak that is, you know, more relevant to that person to make it personal to them. But if you start off messages with a conversation, then it's going to be even more personal to them. And, you know, I will talk about some scripts that we can use a bit later on in the training, but there are certain ways that we can open a conversation with people at this time. So talking to people, whether it's on the phone, whether it's on a Zoom call, whether it's on a WhatsApp call. Jane Leach shared a brilliant video about helping people with their new team members go on to a 3-way WhatsApp call. So as I say, people are really open to chatting at the moment. So even just phone all your friends, catch up with all those people that you haven't caught up with for a long time. Having conversations on the phone, when you make the conversation about them and asking them lots of questions about how things are in their life, they will tell you things that may or may not, but may lead on to a conversation where you can offer them the opportunity. So it's about connecting, it's about talking to people, it's about getting personal with people, and there'll be opportunities that will come up that will enable you to give them a chance to have a look at some information. Customers as well, you know, our sales are through the roof at the moment, and we're having a brilliant couple of months in the business while everybody is looking to improve their health, stay healthy, stay safe. Our products are absolutely fantastic for that, and our customers are more loyal than ever at the moment, and a loyal customer obviously makes a fantastic prospect for the business. They already love the products, they already use the products, and you know, you never know what their situation is right now. They could be in a position where they could do with an additional income, and so if you've offered the business to your customers in the past and it's not been right for them right then, this is a really good time to connect with your customers. Again, you could just connect with them, ask them how they are, ask them how things are going, and then, you know, see if an opportunity crops up to offer them the business. So there are loads and loads of ways with our warm market that we can be connecting with right now and increasing our opportunity to show people the business. And you can do this in many ways. So at the moment, obviously no face-to-face, but phone, voice notes, messages, all of those things that we've already spoken about. Face-to-face, you know, a social distance may start coming back soon. People are going to be out and about a bit more. So, you know, as long as we're doing it safely, we will still be able to have those conversations. And there's no reason why you can't connect with someone on Facebook if you're standing on your phone and they're standing on their phone a metre or 2 away, or 2 metres away. So that will start to come back in, but for the moment it doesn't matter, because we have got these incredible online tools that are allowing us to connect with people in many other different ways anyway. And then there's the cold market. Again, we've got social media, which is enabling us to connect with lots of people in the cold market as well at the moment. And again, people are more present on their social media just now. LinkedIn is a great tool. That's a whole other training, but LinkedIn is a great tool. Again, you use it in the same way, but you can connect with new people. And on LinkedIn, people are used to you connecting with new people that you don't know. It's not considered spammy on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is used quite a lot as a recruitment platform for businesses, and so it's quite acceptable for you to connect with people that you might know through other connections that you have, and then you can reach out to those kind of people as well. So this is a way we can be adding people to our list. In terms of other social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram, you can network in groups. This is a brilliant way to expand your network and give you more people to connect with about the business opportunity. So choose a kind of group that would be of interest to you. If you love photography, join photography groups. If you love travel, join travel groups. Whatever it is, if you're into yoga, join some yoga groups, fitness, join some fitness groups. Whatever is of interest to you, join those groups, but don't spam those groups. Don't put recruitment adverts in those groups. Don't just directly message people in those groups and offer them an opportunity. It's a place to network. It's a place to build relationships. So comment and share on those groups of stuff that's going to be of value to people. And then you can kind of build relationships within those groups. So if you're commenting on people's posts, if someone's asked for some advice or some help, and you're the one that's commenting, after a little while, when they're familiar with your name and you've responded to each other a couple of times, you can send them a friend request, and then you can get chatting to them, asking them how things are. And once you've done that and you've built a bit of a relationship, then they become part of your warm network, and then you can start to think about approaching them about the business opportunity. So build relationships first in those groups, network in those groups. You've also got things like the Nextdoor app, which you've probably heard a few people mention on many trainings that we've had, many of the brilliant trainings we've had over the last few weeks. Again, the same rules apply, I think. I've seen some people put posts about buying their products, not from our company, but from other networks, on the Nextdoor app, and they don't get any response. Surprise, surprise. And it just looks awful. So offer value. So, potentially you could offer people the chance to have some samples, for example, because you're offering something first. But I wouldn't go putting on a sales post about your products. But what I would do primarily is I would connect with people, comment, share, give value, build relationships, and then you can connect with people separately from there. Advertising, you can do. If you're new in the business, you shouldn't need to do this at all anyway, because you've got a whole who do you know list to work your way through, and people are very receptive at the moment. If you've been in the business for longer, some people have success in advertising on Facebook. I know lots of people that have built great teams doing that. There are other different ways that you can advertise. I also shared with my team recently that there are still some post offices, news agents, supermarkets. These are all the places that are still open at the moment, where these are kind of places that do have notice boards, that do have the postcards in the windows that you can advertise for free or at a very low cost. Those postcards in the windows actually cost about 70 pence a month or something like that. So these are the places that are still open. So if you are out on your allowed exercise for the day, or if you are at the supermarket and you're protecting, you've got your gloves on and stuff, and you want to pop something on a notice board, there's no reason why you can't do that. And if people are out on their walks at the moment, they're walking past a newsagent's window and they see your card in there, it might just appeal to them. They might have more time to stop and read when they're walking at the moment, and it might just appeal to them in their current situation. So you can do some cheap free advertising still in that way. And then there is online networking groups as well. Lots of people in the business do networking groups where they'll go and have a breakfast meeting at a hotel in normal everyday life. But I have seen a lot of networking groups going on online recently as well. So you can hunt around for those. You can see some of those advertised on LinkedIn. There are Facebook groups that are more for business. So there is so many different ways where we can find enough people that we're going to never run out of people to talk to. And there's lots of people coming into that funnel. So planning is absolutely key for success. So before we embark on contacting all of these people, we need to have a plan as to who we're going to speak to that week, obviously. So the 7-day plan is something that comes in the first steps to manage a book, and it helps you to break down your activities for the week. And I find if I don't ever do one of these, which is very, very rarely, then I'm all over the place that week. It's like a really well-structured to-do list, but to-do lists, just because they're normally on a bit of paper, they don't seem to carry as much importance. Whereas if you've got your 7-day plan written out nice and neatly, which you can do on a Sunday, spend half an hour doing it on a Sunday, and you keep that with you all week, and that's your Bible for the week, that you're going to tick off everything that you do on there, then you're much more likely to be consistent, to speak to enough people, and to do your recruitment. So here's your 7-day plan. Down the left hand side, you write down the names of all the people that you're going to be contacting that week. So whether that's your 3 to 5 or your 5 to 10, that's where they go. Of course, down the right hand side, you can write in your retail activity, anyone that is hot in your pipeline that's booked in for one-to-ones or business presentations that you need to follow up with. And then at the bottom there, you can write down your training and events. So once you've got that 7-day plan though, I also think it's quite important to plot it into your diary, because again, if you write your 7-day plan and that piece of paper literally just goes into the back of your diary and you don't see it, then the likelihood of you actually taking action on that is going to be much less. So once you've got your 7-day plan and you know the 30 odd people that you're going to be contacting that week, take your 3 to 5 a day or your 5 to 10 a day and write them in at the time that you're going to be contacting them in your diary each day, so that you know that it's going to get actioned. And I think it's just a tiny little thing that makes a big difference in making sure that we actually do that activity. So you've got your list of people. We're ready to start contacting enough people consistently over time. So what is it that we're going to say? So first of all, we want to see if they're open to an opportunity, because not everyone will be. And I've given you some nice soft openers already, which is to get in contact with people and wish them a happy birthday through Facebook, for example. And there are many ways which you can contact people about the business, and it's very important that we make sure that that is personal to each of those individuals. There are lots and lots of different scripts that you can use. I'm sure your sponsors and your upline will be able to help you with exactly how they do things and how you do things within your teams. But the one piece of advice that I would say at the moment is, don't just go in with straight into the opportunity. I mean, you should never do that anyway. Always start with something personal to them. Hey, how are you? I thought I'd get in touch to see how you're keeping in these strange times. I hope you and your family are well. So that's just obviously something that is showing that we're empathetic to the people that we are getting in contact with, but it's also, we have something in common at the moment. We all have something in common at the moment. We're all in this situation. So everyone's open to talking about it. People are getting a bit fed up with it now, so they like to let off a bit of steam. So ask them how they're getting on. It's also good to say, how are you managing to work from home? Or how are you getting on with the schooling? Are you managing to work around the kids? Because if they're not working, then they will tell you that they've been furloughed or they're being made redundant. If they are, they might tell you that it's driving them mad. If I've also spoken to people in other situations where they've said, do you know what, actually I'm really enjoying working from home. I don't want to go back to the office when the lockdown lifts. I really would love to stay at home. I wish I could do this forever kind of thing, with a bit of normal life around it. So, you know, I had someone looking at the business last week that said exactly that. So, you know, there are people that think this is a great way of life, and they don't want to go back to the rat race. So that's why I think it's important at the moment when we're approaching people about the business to ask them if they're managing to work from home okay, how they're coping with working around the kids, because they will definitely then tell you their current situation. I also think that it's important to give them the opportunity to say no, because again, you know, we don't want to be seen to be railroading people in this current situation or ever. So it's always important to give them an out, and to be particularly empathetic right now is super important. So I've been saying something like, if it's not just something you can think about at all at the moment, I completely understand, no problem at all. Or in normal circumstances, I say it may not be for you, only you can decide that. No worries at all if not, that's absolutely fine, but I just thought I'd reach out to you. So it's just using that, you know your contacts, you know your people, and you know what's personal to them, but it's using these kind of bookends at the beginning and at the end to keep the conversation super warm. And if they say it's not for them, it's always good to say, no problem at all, I hope you didn't mind me asking, but I thought of you. And it just keeps it nice and warm and really easy then for us to go back to people in the future. So obviously, if you've had a nice conversation with them and it led you on to an opportunity to offer the business, then you can move them on to the next stage. So you either move them on to the next stage at this point to a one-to-one, or if they're a no for now, then you will put them in your folder to follow them up in the future. So if you arrange to do a one-to-one, then I would encourage you to jump onto a Zoom call with them. You can share your screen on Zoom, you can download the one-to-one document on Forever Knowledge, and then you just share your screen on Zoom. Everybody can get a free Zoom account right now, which hosts up to 100 people, which is amazing. I think they've changed that. It used to only be 3 people for the free Zoom account. And it lasts for 40 minutes. So it's plenty of time for you to be able to do a webinar, a one-to-one in. So arrange with them a time to do a one-to-one. I think it's quite important, if they're not really au fait with Zoom, that you give them a few little instructions. So you can say to them, I'm going to send you a link. If you click on that link when you get it, you can set up a free Zoom account. And then once that's done, all you need to do is just click back on the link on Wednesday, just before we start our one-to-one, and it will bring you into the meeting. So just sometimes a couple of little simple instructions like that help people, because we can't assume everyone knows how to use it really easily like we do. There are some brilliant trainings on doing a one-to-one in various different Facebook groups. There is also a great training by Diana Page and Adam May on how to use the newest version of the one-to-one, which is fantastic. And the slides are available on Forever Knowledge as well. So we literally have it all at our fingertips. If you've sent them a link because you've decided that you can't do a one-to-one for whatever reason, there is the Your Future link, and there is the We Are Forever link. One is 5 minutes long. The We Are Forever link is about 4 minutes long, and the Your Future link is about 14 minutes long. So it depends who you want to send it to and what level of detail you think they should have at that initial stage. But they both work and they're both fine. But I would encourage you as much as possible to jump on a one-to-one, because it's that initial connection, that trust that you build, them starting to like you, them starting to feel your excitement, see your body language, see your eyes, that is really going to build that relationship. And you're much more likely to move people to a business presentation if you've had that initial interaction. The other thing is as well, because the initial interaction because the business presentation at the moment is all online rather than you taking them to a business presentation, I think it's even more important that we have that initial connection face to face, even if it is online, in a Zoom call initially, when we first speak to them. So follow up with people if they have watched a link. If you haven't done a one-to-one and they have watched a link, you can follow up with them after that. And if you've sent out some initial messages to people and they haven't responded to you about the business opportunity, I always wait a few days and I just send a little prompt message to say, hey Joe, I just wondered if you got my last message and if you had any thoughts, please. Because, you know, a lot of the time we all do it. Someone sends you a message, you think, I'll get back to them later, and then you don't hear from them, and you get busy, sorry, and then you don't hear back from them. But it's not that they're ignoring you, it's just that they've got busy. So if you send them a little prompt message, then often they will come back to you. And I've done that before with people where they haven't responded to my first message. I've sent them a little prompt follow-up and ended up taking them around the business cycle, and they've joined my team. So if I hadn't sent the prompt, then I would have been gutted that they didn't end up joining my team, or I would have never known. So as I say, with the company one-to-one, everything is available on Forever Knowledge. And once we've taken them through that, even if they've watched a link or they've been had a Zoom one-to-one, the next step is the business presentation. Now, the online BP, as I said earlier, is on every Monday morning at 10:30, every Monday evening at 8:30, every Wednesday evening at 8:30. I think there are also recorded versions, so look on Forever Knowledge. And we have had recently Forever Online Experience Evening, which was fantastic. I have recruited 2 people that watched that online experience evening last month. So these events work really, really well. With all of our fantastic UK leaders are running these business presentations, these online experience evenings, and they are so impressive to watch and to listen to. So make sure you are using this facility, make sure you're using this opportunity to plug your new prospects into, because they will be blown away, trust me. They really, really will. If you are plugging a prospect into the online BP, if you can, I would highly advise you to watch that very online BP, even if you've seen it 100 times before, because they have different speakers on there, they have different people doing testimonials. And it could be that when you follow up with your prospect and you ask them which bits they liked best, and they talk about something from someone's story that was in the presentation that you hadn't heard because you haven't watched it, you'll find it difficult to have a conversation with them around that. So make sure if you're plugging prospects into the BP that you try and watch it yourself that night, so that you know exactly who's spoken, exactly what they've said, so that you can identify and you know, connect with your customer when they sorry, with your prospect when they talk to you about that afterwards. So I would always arrange a call to catch up with your prospect as soon as they've watched the business presentation. So it might not finish till, you know, 9:15. So if they're okay with you calling them straight afterwards for, you know, a quick 10-minute call or a 5-minute call, then do that. Because, you know, it's important that you catch them when they're excited, when it's fresh in their mind, when they've got those questions at the top of their mind that you can help them answer, which might help them to make a decision. So if you can call them at 9:15 or 9:30 as soon as the presentation is finished, if they're happy with that, then do. Obviously, if that's too late for them, then we don't want to annoy them. So arrange a call for first thing the next morning, but make sure you do arrange that call so that they expect that you're going to be calling to follow them up. And you know, the same rules apply for closing at the end of a business presentation as they do if you'd taken them along to a face-to-face one. So close with confidence. Exciting, isn't it? Which bits did you like best? All of these tiny little phrases that we're used to. And don't be afraid to ask the question. You know, if you've answered all of their questions and they seem happy and excited, ask them if they're ready to get started, because so many people don't. And sometimes people will surprise you. They'll say, yeah, and you'll be like, wow. So it's really important to ask the question. Exciting, isn't it? Which bits did you like best? Do you have any other questions? And then when you've gone through all of that, say, sounds like you're ready to get started. And you will be surprised at how many people say yes. So if they don't say yes, however, then that's something else that we need to deal with. But there are follow-ups at every single stage of the process. So coming back to when we first approach someone about the business, There will always be people that ask you certain particular types of questions. So you might say to them something like, you know, once you've had a conversation with them and they tell you that they're not looking forward to going back to work, or they tell you that they've been made redundant, or they're worried about the future of their company, you can say to them, you know, I don't know if it would be for you, but would you be open to looking at some information on how you can build a secondary income stream online from home right now? And you can do that around your current job and commitments and family commitments initially, but it's going to be something that you can build in the background to give you more security for the future. Would you be open to taking a look at some information? Now, if you ask in that way, it's less likely that people will actually flag up questions. They'll probably just say, okay, I'll be open to taking a look, and then you can arrange the one-to-one. But some people will ask questions, and the question that most people dread, especially if they're new in the business, because it can send you into a bit of a fluster, is what is it? The what is it question. Now, all of this stuff is in your First Steps to Manage a book, as everything is in the business that you need to know to build a successful business with Forever. It is all in there. And even this question, what is it, and handling objections, all of this stuff is in your First Steps to Manage a book. But this question is, you know, we're not going to not tell them what it is, but equally we don't want to present to them and give them the whole business opportunity on that message or on that phone call. So we're just going to say, the company called Forever, have you heard of them? We're a 42-year-old company in the booming natural healthcare sector. So you can pick 2 of these, 3 of these, just to give them a little bit of information. Often I say, have you heard of them? And people say no. And I say, no, do you know what? Nor had I, but I was surprised to hear we're actually a 42-year-old company and we operate in over 160 countries around the world. So I can't believe that I'd never heard of them. Anyway, I'd love to tell you much more about how it all works. And obviously it's difficult to do that on a message or a quick phone call. Would it be okay to jump on a Zoom call, and so I can take you through a bit more information for 20 minutes, a time that's convenient to you? So, you know, you can answer that question with just a couple of little bullet points to satisfy their curiosity, but then you want to try and lead it into a one-to-one or getting them a video link sent over. Handling objections. So once they have seen some initial information, or once you have done a one-to-one with them, some people will be happy to go straight on to looking at some more detailed information and plug them into the business presentation or an online experience evening. But some people will have some questions or some skepticism or some objections. And sometimes questions and skepticism are not a bad thing. Andy Ware, in my sponsor, well, not my sponsor, but my upline, sorry, always used to say skepticism is just curiosity, and they want it to be what you've told them it is. They really want it to be, but they just got a few more questions, and they need those satisfied before making a decision. So skepticism and objections can be a good thing. Sometimes they're just an excuse. So if they say, I haven't got the time, for example, it's not necessarily that they don't have the time. It's that it's a no, but they just don't know what else to say. So there are some things that are objections that are just trying to say no, rather than just straightly saying no. And there are some objections and skepticism, which is a sort of buying signal that they want it to be what you're saying it is, but they just need a few questions answered first. So it might be like, do you know what, it sounds great, but I'm not very good at sales. And so in this instance, I would use something called the feel, felt, found method. So I understand exactly how you feel. You know, having been in recruitment for 15 years, I didn't want to do sales, and I'd never retailed a product in my life either. So I felt exactly the same as you. But what I found was it's not really a hard sell. It's much more of a gentle recommendation, and it's about networking. So I was pleasantly surprised. So look, obviously it would be great to show you more about how it works so you could understand it in a bit more depth, and then I'm sure you would see exactly what I'm saying. So, you know, would it be okay to plug you into a business presentation where you can understand it a bit more, and that might help you with that. So it's using the feel, felt, found to empathize with them, tell them that you're the same, but what you found was this. And actually, you know, maybe if they had a look a bit further, they might see that. It could be that they say, oh, I just haven't got the time. And you say, yeah, I totally understand how you feel. It's crazy, especially at the moment, isn't it, with homeschooling and the kids being at home. But actually, you know, I felt the same when I first looked at this business. I was just about to have a baby. I didn't think I'd have time for it. But what I found was it's very, very simple to build it into the nooks and crannies of your time. And that's how I built my business. And especially at the moment, as the business is online, we are able to do it as and when we can. We choose our own hours and do it around our other commitments. I'm sure if you looked at some more detailed information, then you know, you may see exactly what I'm saying here, and then we can plug them into a business presentation. If they say, is it pyramid scheme or something like that, this is another classic from Andy Waring. That's an interesting question. What makes you ask that? A lot of the time people aren't saying that in a negative way. They just don't know that our business is called network marketing or multi-level marketing. They just ask, is it one of those pyramid things? And if you say no, it's not, and then start defending it, it doesn't give a very good look. But if you actually say, that's an interesting question, what makes you ask that? You know, often you get people coming and saying, oh, you know, I know someone that did that and they did really well in it, or I know someone that did one of those things and, you know, they've earned a brilliant income from it, or, you know, it could be just something that they're calling the business as opposed to being a negative thing. So we need to find out where that is actually coming from. So that's an interesting question, what makes you ask that? And you can use that for anything that you're not sure about, and you know, it just gets them talking and gets you to help understand where they're coming from rather than second guessing, because second guessing often ends up not being a good thing. So so that's how you handle objections, and you can use those at any stage. So you can use those after a one-to-one, you can use it after the presentation, because although a lot of people, once they've been through, you know, maybe having a quick 5-minute call with you, then a one-to-one, and then they've watched a business presentation or an online experience evening, they're ready to make a decision, and they've got enough information at that stage. But there will still be people afterwards, after the BP, that still have some questions, still have some skepticism, still have some objections. And sometimes those people will go on to be no's or no for nows, and that's fine. But there will be some people that just want a little bit of reassurance, and just using those two things there can really help with that. And obviously remember, the fortune is in the follow-up. So most people won't respond at your first contact. It's, you know, it's a way of keeping in touch with people if you connect with them on a regular basis. So if you get in touch with somebody and they don't respond to you, then don't write them off forever. You know, we have a follow-up system that we use, and the fortune really is in the follow-up. There are people that join your business that said no 2 years ago that will join your business this year. There'll be people that have said no at the beginning of your business that will join it in 10 years time. So the fortune really is in the follow-up. Most people won't respond to the first contact. Also, if you are speaking to people and they're just not getting back to you, sometimes it's good to take the opportunity away from them a little bit, because sometimes they're just so busy that they've forgotten to get back to you. So if you get in contact with someone and they've, you know, you've followed up with them, they've watched the business presentation, and you're trying to follow up with them to see if they want to take things forward, but they're not responding to you, sometimes it's best just to send them a little message and say, hey, I've tried to get in contact with you a few times. I'm not sure if you've decided if it's not for you or not. No worries at all. If you have, that's absolutely fine. I can take you off my list, no problem. I don't want to bother you at all. And sometimes when you say that, people think, oh my gosh, no, I don't want to be, you know, I don't want you to not consider me for this opportunity anymore. I've just been really, really busy. And so sometimes just by taking it away from them a little bit, it will bring them back into the pipeline. If they don't respond to that message, then you know that they're really not interested. But it's just one last little thing that you can try to maybe bring them back into a conversation. So once you've got all of these people looking at your business opportunity, whether they're having a one-to-one, whether they're looking at a video link, whether they're at the BP stage, whether they're looking at the online experience evening. We need to make sure that they are on our trackers. Lots of you will be cringing now looking at how messy my activity trackers are, but this is an organized mess for me. I know exactly what they're all about, but the reason I've screenshotted these to share with you is just to actually show, if you look at the warm and cold column there, it just shows you that people come through into my pipeline, into my funnel, from lots of different recruitment methods. So that first one there's one that was a Facebook ad, one that was contact marketing back when we could go contact marketing, one that was Facebook warm, one that was from a card, one that was from the David Lloyd's Aloe Bar, one from LinkedIn, and then a few more from my warm list and a few more from LinkedIn. So you can see that, you know, there's lots of different methods that are used to make sure that this tracker is filled up every single week. And there are 12 lines on this tracker. Remember I said if you're contacting your 3 to 5, 5 to 10 a day, you should have a minimum of sort of 10 to 12 people, new people going into your pipeline each week that are actually looking at some information. So all of these people on this tracker here, on this activity tracker, are looking at some information. And once we're taking them through the process, once we've approached them about the business opportunity, even if we are doing that online at the moment through a message, I think it's really important to get them onto the phone as soon as possible, or onto obviously a WhatsApp call as soon as possible, because that's where we're going to build that rapport. So really that process that I've spoken about today, you want to be taking them around that cycle and connecting with them after each stage with the phone call. Follow-ups on a phone call are so important, I believe. I find that if you follow up by message, it's very difficult to follow up more than once without looking a bit stalkerish if they haven't replied to your previous message. I think, you know, the tone of voice is really important. It's much easier to have a flowing conversation, obviously, if you pick up the phone to follow up with people rather than a message, because they might answer part of your message and then disappear off for a few hours so it doesn't flow. And once you're on the phone with them, you can ask them everything you need to ask. They can ask you everything they need to ask. So I honestly believe when you're following up with people through that cycle that we've spoken about today, do it on the phone and get them on the phone from as early in that cycle as possible to take them through that and build rapport at every single step. So also remember not just to be consistent with your contacting, but you need to be consistent with your no's. I love this quote here. It's one of my favorites. Eyes that look are common, but eyes that see are rare. You know, there are going to be loads of people on those trackers. As you could see how busy those activity trackers look. And maybe off each activity tracker, one person might join your team. So there are lots of people looking, but not all of them are going to see what we can see. Not all of them are going to say yeses, or not at least for now, maybe in the future. So we need to make sure that we are speaking to enough people, not only to get the yeses, but also to get the no's. There is even a book written called Go for No. So be consistent with your no's. Remember, not everyone will see what we see, and that's absolutely fine. Do not stop when you're getting lots of no's. My dog's snoring on the floor next to me. So if you can hear a weird growling noise, that's my dog. Do not stop when you're getting lots of no's. In fact, use it to encourage you, because when you're getting a lot of no's, you're doing a lot of one-to-ones, or you know, people have watched the business presentation and you're thinking, yes, this is it, they're going to join, and you're getting quite a few no's in a row. It can be disappointing, but you should always know that if you're getting lots of those, as long as you keep going with the activity, the yeses are definitely just around the corner. And it's really, really important to manage our own expectations and our own mindset with regards to that, especially when we're new in the business. And it can seem a bit disheartening, but you just got to keep going. Jane Leach always says, marry the activity, divorce the outcome. And I think that's the best bit of advice that you can have when you're doing your recruitment process. And those are really important. Do not take it personally. In any sale or transaction, not in network marketing, not in Forever, but in any sale or transaction in general, across all industries, only 2% of people bite on the first contact. 80% bite on the 5th to 12th contact. in any transaction or sale. And that would apply to our business as well. So remember that when you're prospecting, because people are never just a no forever. They're always a no for now. There's been years where people have said no to me the year before, and 3 of those people would join my team in the same month the following year. You know, especially right now, circumstances are changing so rapidly that I would probably be doing follow-ups every 3 months at the moment. And if there are people whose situation that you are not sure of, you know, it may be in some cases you might want to follow up people even more frequently than that, even each month. The things are going to be rapidly changing throughout this year. So no's that are no right now definitely may not be no in a couple of months' time. And so it's really important not to be discouraged by those no's, but they're just your contacts for the future. And make sure obviously you use a follow-up system, because as we've mentioned, the fortune is in the follow-up. It may be that you use a 1 to 31 January to December file for your recruitment. This is a simple way to do this, and very duplicatable, and anyone can do it with just a folder and some dividers. So it's definitely something that anybody can do. So make sure you're keeping a system for your follow-ups, and your sponsor and upline can help you with how to do that. Be consistent with your action as well as you're contacting. So remember, you know, 100% you get out what you put in. It's the same with anything in life. 2 to 4 recruits a month should be a goal. As I say, I've never been a 6, 7, 8 people a month recruiter, which I know some people are in the business, which I think is amazing. But just by consistently recruiting 2 to 4 people a month on average, over the years, I have, you know, achieved a lot of the things that I have achieved. And so if you make that a goal, but you do make that a goal consistently, then everything on the marketing plan, and you coach this to your team, obviously everything on the marketing plan can be yours too. Consistent action, as always with anything, equals consistent results. It's the same with anything like the gym. Consistent action, consistent results. Sporadic action, sporadic results. That's me with the gym, I think. Do not underestimate the compound effect of your actions, and that's in both directions. So if you are not doing this, your team might appear to shrink. If you are doing this, contacting enough people and taking people through the cycle properly, your team will gradually grow, little by little, but it's a step forward every single time. So consistency is definitely the key. And I love this quote as well, because people are always fearful, doubtful, unsure that they can do it with regards to recruitment. And surprise your doubt with action. I'm working closely with a couple of new people in my team at the moment who've been super nervous to contact people, so worried about what people will think and how they'll be perceived. So we're working together in a little group of 3, and we are making ourselves accountable to each other. And just yesterday and today, they've started contacting people. We've got a list for the week of who we're going to be contacting. They've started contacting people, and they both had 2 business calls booked in, follow-up calls booked in yesterday, so 5-minute calls to book in one-to-ones as a result of just the contacts that they made yesterday. And I think that they have totally surprised their doubt with action. And the minute you start taking action and getting results, your confidence grows, and it encourages you to do more of that as well. And I think it's very important. So one of the last bullet points that I mentioned on the first slide was master your communication skills. So, you know, at the beginning, when we first start in this business, we can be a bit like ignorance on fire. And that works as well in the beginning, because your excitement and your enthusiasm can be infectious. And that's how I would recommend that you are whilst you're learning your communication skills. So whilst you're learning your communication skills, I would most definitely be excited and share. Don't think that you can't share the opportunity until you've mastered all of this stuff, because your sponsors and your uplines are there to support you every single step of the way. But whilst you are on your journey, it's a really good idea to master some communication skills, because what this will do as you go forward is it will help you to improve your stats. So, you know, you'll instead of maybe booking in 3 to 5 one-to-ones as a result of having 10 to 12 people saying yes to looking at some information, you might book in 6 to 8 one-to-ones in a week if you've got the right communication skills, if you're confident enough in taking people through the cycle using the right words. And so I just wanted to share with you some of my best personal development CDs and books that I share with people in the business that I absolutely love. Andy Waring is one of my upline, and I used all of his words to get myself to manager in those first few months in the business when I was prospecting. He has a couple of CDs one's called Make the Phone Your Friend, and one is called How to Have Simple and Stress-Free Conversations That Turn People into Prospects. And we all want simple, stress-free conversations. I think Andy Waring is the master of communication. And these are on CD, which you can buy online from Knowledge is King. However, Andy has made both of these available, because we're all working online at the moment, to anyone to be able to use. If you go to his Facebook page, which is called Andy Waring Voicemails and Podcasts. So that's Andy Waring Voicemails and Podcasts. It's a Facebook page. It's not a group, so you don't have to be added to it. You can just like the page, and there are lots and lots of Andy's top tips for communicating with people on there. But he's also made both these CDs available to everybody, so that we can get our communication skills tip top, because we are going to be doing a lot of stuff on the phone and online at the moment. So thank you for that, Andy. Also, in terms of recruitment, I think one of the best books or CDs you can get, and you can get it on both, is Go Pro by Eric Worre. This is fantastic for understanding the psychology of taking people around the cycle, and that it might take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 exposures, and how you take them around that cycle before they're ready to make a decision on getting started, or even more. So that's sort of the what to do. Andy's is the what to say, and then how to think. So dealing with your mindset. I think these two are fantastic, especially if you're brand new in the business. Jim Rohn, Building Your Network Marketing Business. It's quite a funny, quite a short CD. I used to listen to this in the car all the time when I was new. It's a bit cheesy, but the story is fantastic, and it's a really, really good CD for getting your head around why some people say no and some people just disappear off the face of the earth, and that we shouldn't think too much into that. And again, it's about marrying the process and letting go of the outcome. And it's really funny as well. And then Dare to Dream, Work to Win, my absolute favourite, by Tom Barrett. And this is all about keeping your head and your heart in the game of the business we're in network marketing. So if you get your recruitment right, even if you are recruiting consistently a couple of people a month, then all of the amazing things that are available to you in Forever start to become a reality, and getting to that manager position starts to become a reality. That yellow suitcase down there in the left-hand corner, that's from consistently recruiting just 2 people a month in your business over a year. And most people that get one of those suitcases get it, and they've got to manager. So 2 people a month is definitely a great goal to have. But at the moment, as I say, I think there's so much opportunity out there online. Things are moving quickly. People are going around the business cycle quicker than they have been before. Then if you are consistently contacting enough people, you can be recruiting more than that and achieving even more in this business. But all of those things that we hear about on the business presentation, the car schemes, the amazing trips, the chairman's bonus checks, the getting more time with your family, all of those things come as a result of recruiting. And you can't retail your way, unfortunately, to those kind of incentives. And so it's really, really important, if you want to achieve all of those things, we need to be realistic that the things that we've spoken about today are the things that we need to do consistently. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'm just checking out the time. I don't think we've got time to do any Q&A. So what I'll do is I'll get the questions from Sam, and if there are any in there that I need to answer for you, then I'll get those answered. Maybe we can post them on the events page or something like that. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. Have a fantastic rest of the week, and I hope you have got some value from today and that you're ready to go out there and smash your recruitment. Have a great day. Thank you.